I never really thought that I would turn into one of those clueless old blokes that ends up with a story to tell about falling for a bargirl in Pattaya. It's even worse because she was from Soi 6. I always had my head screwed on, thought I knew all the rules to the game, and thought I was old enough to not fall for any of these traps. But here we are. Somehow I let it happen. I will begin by clearly stating that the girl I got involved with was a 22-year-old, and I am 61. Although I look younger, it's still no excuse. I guess my story really starts the night I met this girl. It was one of my last nights on my short Pattaya trip, and I wanted to see what Soi 6 was all about. I know it's a tourist trap with inflated prices, so I had avoided it during my whole trip, but I really wanted to experience it while I was there, just to say I've been there and to see what all the fuss was about. I wasn't exactly looking to meet a girl there, I just wanted to do some people watching while having a couple of drinks. During this time in my life, I will admit, I had started to want some kind of relationship. After some years alone, I felt like it was time to actually meet someone. I had no plans to meet someone at Soi 6. Though the way I was feeling, I think it put me in a vulnerable state of mind. It's probably not the best to have a wander down that Soi when you are feeling a bit lonely. Anyways, I was in one bar. I was having a couple of drinks, sat looking on the street, and if you've ever been down Soi 6, you will know that looking out on the street is the best, as it is flooded with girls. They are rarely sat inside of the bar. One girl kept catching my eye outside. She wasn't the most beautiful woman I had ever seen, but there was something about her that just set something off for me. She did keep looking at me, smiling at me, and signalling that she wanted a drink. I just smiled back and waved her off at first, but eventually I nodded and signalled her to come over for a drink. As we started talking and drinking, she came out and told me about her background. It was pretty much the same as the 99% of other girls there. She got pregnant not long after finishing her studies. The baby daddy took off with his mere noi once the baby was born. She wasn't working or making any money, so her mother took the child while she went off to Pattaya to do some bar work. Her just turning 22 should have been a big red flag for me, as I was many years older than her. But hey, it's just fun in Pattaya, right? She claims she had only been working on Soi 6 a month until she met me. That part is probably not true, but I'll leave that up to you guys to decide if that is true or not. She told me she does not go with customers much, and has never had a Farang boyfriend. She just works for lady drinks mainly, and then goes home when the bar closes. Here is where the first mistake happened. I allowed her to talk me into paying the 1,500 baht bar fine. I think that's the most expensive bar fine I've ever heard of. Probably a scam, but stupid old me went ahead with it and paid anyway. It was the end of my Pattaya trip anyway, so I thought I might as well go out with a bang and pay the bar fine. We left the bar to the cheers of her friends, had a couple of drinks on the way back, and then called it a night together. The next morning was something I had not experienced before. She did not rush to get dressed and leave, never to be seen again. Instead, she stuck to me like we'd been together for years. This was something I was not used to. Normally, they wait for their bat and then they're off, but not this girl. She was telling me how much she enjoyed last night, how she wanted to see me again, and that she had never been treated the way that I treated her. I know this was just part of a plan. After spending many years in Thailand, I'm not completely blind to what's really going on. But the crazy mix of young passion and the clueless crush of an old guy had me in a bit of a pickle. She asked me to come back to the bar again tonight so I could take her out on a date. I figured there might be something there worth giving a shot. I only had about 2 or 3 days left in Pattaya, so if things all went downhill after meeting her again, then I wouldn't have to stick around for too long. I showed up around 6 p.m. like we had arranged, only to be told by one of her friends that my lovely lady was busy upstairs. A little annoyed that I wasted my time, but I did not make a big deal out of it. As I was already on Soi 6, I thought I wouldn't make this night a total waste. So I walked into one of the other 100 bars on that Soi, got a beer and chatted with some of the girls. None of them really interested me more than just to have a drink with, because, as sad as it sounds, my mind was still on the girl from the previous night. I was having fun. That was until about an hour later when the flood of line messages started pouring in. "I'm sorry, please come back. Can we still go out? I miss you." I didn't reply to any of them. I just did a small bar hop until I went home alone and called it a night. It wasn't a total waste of a night. I got a couple of other girls' line numbers for the next time I was in town, though I didn't really plan on using them. I woke up around 8 a.m. the next morning, checked my phone, and had like 5 messages from her. All of them something like, "I really like you, I'm sorry." Foolish me fell right into the trap. So I messaged her back and said, "Don't worry about it, I know it's your job. Maybe we'll meet again sometime." Within minutes, I got a reply from her asking if she could come over and see me. Believe it or not, within 30 minutes, she was at my place. I had only met her one time, but she was saying that she really likes me. She kept apologizing for not meeting me the night before, and she told me she wanted to be my official girlfriend. I asked her why, when she could get a much younger guy that would be living in Pattaya, someone that could probably give her more than I could. But of course, she hit me with the line that I was different from other friends and that she really liked me. I had never, in all of my years here, had a girl tell me that she wanted something official with me after meeting me for just one night. That was unheard of. I told her that I don't live in Pattaya and that I normally stay in Chiang Mai, as that is where my condo is. So even if we were to get in a real relationship, it probably wouldn't work out, and I don't want to do the long distance crap. Now, this is the bit that really took me by surprise. She told me that she would quit the bar and come with me to Chiang Mai and look for work there. I probably should have said no, or at the very least, stayed in Pattaya a bit longer to see how we both felt after. She gave me a big hug and lots of kisses, and before I knew it, she was heading back to her friend's place to get all her stuff packed, then to the bar, and then she would be all set to leave. I booked tickets for both of us from Bangkok to Chiang Mai, still feeling like none of this was real, and that she would pull out the last minute. But no, she came and we both went to Chiang Mai together. It had been a few years since I'd had somewhat of a girlfriend, going out and doing things as a couple, so it all felt new to me again. Not sure really how I felt being with her, especially in public, this young Thai girl holding hands with an older Farang man. But whatever, you see much worse in Thailand. A couple of days after getting back to Chiang Mai, it was my birthday. She really wanted to get me a gift, but I told her to save her money because I knew she wasn't exactly rolling in cash and currently did not have a job. She did, however, treat me to dinner. It was at that moment that it sunk in that this could actually be the real deal. She really wanted this to work, and let's just say, I felt pretty damn good about it all too. Talking to her over my birthday dinner, she just seemed really genuine, like the bar work life was not for her at all, and she wanted more out of life than just that. It was clear that she really loved her family and wanted to do whatever she could to support them. I think that's why she went to the bar in the first place. It's easier than getting a normal, boring job for low pay. Every day she spent a couple of hours video chatting with her mum and her children. I thought, if she cared that much about them, maybe there was some love left for me. I didn't mind helping out financially with her kids if it meant I could share in that kind of love and attention. To be honest, the week together was just like a normal relationship. Not boring, but not super exciting either. We would go out together, shopping, eating, temples, just the normal stuff really. She was a big movie buff. The problem is, we had to watch them in Thai, which was pretty annoying for me. We talked about going back to Pattaya in the next couple of weeks, so she could spend some time with her friends and take care of things there. I don't think she was bored of Chiang Mai or bored of me. It's just that we left in a bit of a hurry, so she didn't really have time to sort everything out at home. Before going back, we decided to get away for a couple of days and escape to one of the islands. It was a chance to get some fresh air, relax a bit, and just enjoy some time together, away from the pretty boring and laid-back life in Chiang Mai. This is the point where I noticed a shift in her personality and her behaviour. One night, we went out for dinner, and she was asking me about my past and if I'd had a Thai girlfriend before, to which I had. We broke up over 6 years ago, and it was only a short relationship. We kept in touch and actually became good friends. It was one of those relationships where we both knew we were better as friends, and there wasn't really a romantic connection. But having told that to my current girlfriend, she got really jealous, asking all sorts of questions about her and why I still spoke to her. I tried to explain to her what had happened between us and that there was no love there. That we are just good friends and message each other every few days just to see how one another is getting on. I told her not to worry and said that the only girl I'm interested in right now is her, and to relax and not make a big fuss of it. Eventually, she started pushing me to block my ex online and not speak to her again. To keep her happy, I did block my ex, which I did regret. She was actually a good person. I secretly unblocked her not long ago and hope she'll reach out to me again one day in the future, but that's really up to her now. The jealousy and the toxic controlling behaviour did not stop right there. A couple of nights after that, my girlfriend asked me if she could go through my phone. She was checking my Facebook, my Line, and any other apps where I might have conversations with any other girls. She didn't find anything. I'm not exactly the player type of man. I'm too old for that. I don't have multiple girlfriends at the same time. Even one girl tires me out. I did question her as to why she had to look through my phone so early on in our fling that we had going on, and she said she wanted to make sure I was being serious about her and not playing her. Her jealousy was not the only thing that changed. Her personality did as well. By now, her phone became a lot more important than being around me. She literally became glued to it. I didn't mind her long chats with her mum and her children, but I was starting to get annoyed with all the messages to her friends, scrolling through clothes and shoes, and watching those loud, silly videos. It started to become really annoying, especially after we'd been together late at night, I just wanted to sleep, but then her phone would come out and she would begin scrolling through Facebook. When I asked her to put it away, she said I sounded like her mother. And the morning was no different. Phone first thing. Even during dinner together, the phone was glued to her hands. Little by little, things started going from her being completely loved up and glued to me, to constant mood swings, arguments, and just not wanting to be around me. Bear in mind, this is not months or even years into a relationship. This is just a few weeks. All the red flags were coming out early on. While we were on the boat heading back from the island, we were holding hands like everything was fine. Then, out of nowhere, she yanked her hand away and snapped at me, saying, if I didn't want to hold it, I shouldn't bother. It came completely out of the blue and caught me off guard. I did not say anything bad, look or talk to another woman, and still, as I write this to you, I don't know what gave her the impression that I did not want to be holding her hand. This happened in front of everyone else on the boat. There was no filter when it came to her embarrassing me. I already get judged for being with a younger Thai woman. Her snapping at me in public makes it 10 times worse. She really just became jealous with every little thing. No matter what we did when we went out, drinks, food, or whatever, she would snap at me if she caught me just looking around. And I don't mean specifically looking at another woman. She would just assume that's what I was doing. Why are you checking her out? You are with me, she would say. It's safe to say time with her had now become a complete nightmare. The guys that submit their stories here to help others out, I now fully understand what they are going through and what they mean when they say, don't make the same mistakes. Once we got home, I started to think about where this was going and if it was going to be worth it in the long run. Of course, I came to the conclusion that I needed to get the hell out of this thing. I just needed to do it in a way that wasn't going to cause much trouble or arguments. As soon as we got back to the room, she just jumped on the sofa, took out her phone, and did her own thing. It was like I wasn't there again. I sat next to her, got out my laptop, and after a bit, she asked me why I was ignoring her. I told her I saw that she is wrapped up in her phone, so I figured it was fine for me to check my stuff. It really was one rule for her and one rule for another. It was fine for her to be wrapped up in her own little bubble, but if I did it, I was the bad guy. I opened her Facebook on my computer since it's easier than scrolling on a phone with my eyesight. Most of it was just nonsense, but overall, it matched up with what she had told me. I asked her about one thing though that didn't quite sit right, why she had sent a love reaction instead of just a like to a guy's selfie from a few days back. Judging by his pictures with her, it was clear that he had been on holiday and met her in her bar. But that happened before she met me, so it's not like I had a right to say anything. There was another guy in Pattaya, kept liking every post she put up. She said it was no big deal and that I could do the same if I wanted. Yeah, right. I wasn't sure about that one. What I did notice, though, is that despite posting on Facebook that she was going to the island, she only posted selfies of herself, none of the 100 pictures that she took with us together. Not like it's a serious matter, but it would have been nice for her to show me off if she did actually want to be in a serious relationship. I had become fed up by this point. I was tired of her making arguments out of nothing, the constant jealousy and the feeling of being invisible while we were at home. I asked her if she wanted to go back to Pattaya, as clearly she wasn't happy here with me. She started shouting at me, then started crying, then back to anger, but to me, it was all fake. as if she was putting on a show. The same day I asked her if she wanted to go back to Pattaya, she packed her things, and just like that, she was gone on her way back there. Now, that wasn't my plan, for her to walk out and leave on her own. I was actually going to go with her and take her back to Pattaya, but she left in a fit. Those last few weeks with her wiped me out emotionally. I should have stayed in Pattaya a bit longer to really figure her out. Not doing that turned out to be my biggest mistake by far. It really is true when people say not to get caught up in the moment while you are in Pattaya, and to definitely not fall for a bargirl. I think I broke every rule in the book by taking her with me. I figured getting her away from Pattaya, living in a decent condo, in a good neighbourhood, with some support for her kids, that would be good for her. But it turns out I was wrong. I think once a woman has got a feel for the bar life, it's hard for them to leave, and that's why they become just a temporary thing in your life. As the veterans say, you can take the girl out of the bar, but you can't take the bar out of the girl. Though, in their defense, they are used to meeting guys that will just use them, and I think at some point they get comfortable with that and accept it. It's not like their first Thai guy gives them any confidence after leaving them when they get pregnant. I don't think they really fully understand what a real relationship is and how they work. You can't just keep getting jealous and have no trust. Without trust, there isn't a relationship. I'm glad that my messy experience was short-lived and not like some of the guys you hear that are with the wrong girl for years and years and end up losing everything. But still, I did feel a little sad that it never had a chance from day one. I'm just another old fool that fell for the fantasy. Guys like me get played way too easily by the tricks of a younger woman. I treated her well, showed a lot of patience, and even sent 10,000 baht to her bank after she left to help with her trip home and take care of her kids. Having said that, apart from the first night that I met her, she never asked me for money directly, though I did always offer it and she would accept it like most people would. Even though she never asked me for money, I still paid for everything, such as travel, food, sending money to her family, and I did buy her a few gifts, such as a small gold necklace, but nothing enough to break the bank. With the way I was, and in the mindset of thinking this fantasy may work, she could have had a lot more from me, but in the end, she flopped at playing her part. Come to think of it, with how lonely I actually became and how much I loved the attention at first, if she had played the long game, I would have been another one of the many men out there that had been taken for everything. I'm not really sure why she gave up, to be honest, and did not go through with everything. Maybe she's used to a bad relationship after being with Thai guys. Maybe it was the age difference. Maybe she just enjoyed the easy bar life, drinking with friends and getting money from farangs. Or maybe I was never really on her mind as a serious boyfriend, just another clueless guy. Whatever it was, those first weeks or so were pretty good. After she left and got back to her place, we had a video call and she looked absolutely awful, mainly because she did not sleep on the long trip back and had been crying all day. I did really feel bad looking at her on video call. It made me feel guilty that I was not there with her. But what could I do? She's the one that walked out on me. Again, to my surprise, she wanted us to work and said that I should move to Pattaya so she can still be around her friends and work. That way, there would be less stress in our relationship. She also told me that because she hadn't been working for the last couple of weeks, her mum was getting onto her, saying she needed money, bills needed to be paid, needed food, rent was coming up, and so on. Her dad walked out on her family a long time ago, but somehow he thinks it's okay to ask his younger daughter for money, saying things like, just 1,000 baht, or it's only 2,000 baht. Seriously, he should be out there working, not hitting his daughter up for money. He's not exactly too old to work. So, where does all of this leave us? I think more curiosity than anything else, I asked her how much the whole thing was going to set us back. She told me that she had to cover the house rent of 6,500 baht, the car payment, which is really a motorbike loan, at 3,000 baht, everyone's phone bills around 1,500 baht, plus 4,000 for child support. That adds up to about 15,000 baht per month. But knowing how things go, that's really ever enough. There's always something that will come up, whether it's an emergency or something else. Something will happen where money is the only solution. She's got 2 kids, 1.5-year-old and a 3-year-old. There's clothes, toys, school coming up soon, plus the mum needs things, and the house needs some work. Realistically, it's more like 20,000 baht per month. If I was to step up and take on the responsibility of supporting her and her children, I think it would cost me around 40,000 baht before I even consider covering my own stuff. I'd be paying for someone else's problems, someone else's kids, a lazy mother and father, then regular trips so she can see her children and family. And even though I'm old, I still like to travel. I still have some life left in me. And travelling around isn't as cheap as it used to be, so I need to consider that also. So I would say yes, 40,000 baht, or around that number. Is it really worth it? I mean, she is a young woman, a lot younger than me. She has her whole life left. She works in a bar, and I've only really just met her. It is a big risk if I was going to go through with it. But the more I tell myself that it's not worth it, the more Captain Saver-Girl gently creeps in. Writing all this down has actually helped me see things a bit more clear. She's planning to look for work in a different bar because she had left the previous one and made no plans of going back. She says that she still wants me to be her boyfriend, love her and get a condo together in Pattaya. But can I accept that she's got her family to support and needs to bring in money? Like I said, she does not directly ask me for money. She knows that it will cause drama. So basically, I have to offer to give her money each month, or I've got to accept her doing bar work to make money. But then what am I going to do exactly? Happily sit at home waiting for her to return after doing God knows what? I get that having someone steady she can always lean on is what all these girls want really, to help them get through all the crap. But that kind of situation would really mess with my head big time. I've already been through enough pain in my life, and she's only 22. At that age, she should be out there having fun, living life, dreaming about what's next. But for her, all of that has been taken away. Maybe it's just the saviour side of me taking over my brain, but I feel there's no way out for that girl. She will claim that she will do bar work for a year just to save up and support her family and her child. But that year will soon pass and she will continue for another year and it will just become a vicious cycle. She will become trapped in the bar work world. And I'm not even sure that kind of life can hold up in the long run for a girl like her. It's only been a few days since she walked out on me, and I'm getting at least 30 calls a day where she is declaring her love for me and then constantly switching to guilt trip me. They really do have a way with their words, almost as if they are manipulating you into feeling sorry for them and giving a relationship with them a real chance. I never thought I would be in this position really. And after hearing all the stuff people have been through in the stories on this channel, I figured reaching out here, your viewers can comment some sense into me. Should Captain Save a Woman step back and give it a go, or should I just knock it on the head and walk away? I'm actually completely wiped out from all of this. Although this is ongoing, here is what I've learned along the way. Never take a girl out the bar more than once. Don't chase girls you'd want as a wife or a girlfriend. Stay out of their messy backstories and always treat them with respect and kindness. That doesn't mean being a pushover. I've spent 20 years in Thailand and seen what I thought was everything, so I'm not a clueless newbie that falls in love with the first bargirl that shows me attention. Moments like this wish I never came here. But hey, at least I can add my name to the book of old fools that have eventually fallen for a Thai bargirl.